This interactive tour will give you the basics you need to get started right away in your classroom with your students. It will also offer suggestions for activities you can do with your students using WorldWide Telescope. I'm Lisa Detloff. I'm a science specialist at an independent school in Hillsborough, California. I've been experimenting with using WorldWide Telescope with my students, and I'd like to take you on my journey so you can learn the essentials and get some ideas for how you can use WorldWide Telescope with your students. WorldWide Telescope is an eclectic tool with deep and complex layers of features. You can do a lot with the fundamentals, and as you learn more, you can gradually introduce new features into your work with your students. One of the most powerful features of this tool is the ability to create and go on interactive tours. A tour is a way to take someone on your journey through the universe. The valuable thing about tours is that you can jump off a tour at any point and explore on your own and then get back on the tour. To jump off a tour at any time, simply move your cursor to the upper left-hand corner of the screen. A pause button will appear. Click the pause button and then move your cursor back to the center part of the screen and click on it. Now you're free to go exploring on your own. After you're finished exploring on your own, you can get back on the tour by moving the cursor back up to the left-hand corner of the screen. The play button will appear for the tour that you are on. Just click it and the tour will restart. If during your explorations on your own you've clicked any of the tabs at the top part of the screen, you may have to get back to the tour before you can start it again. The way to do that is to simply click on the name of your tour on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Then move your cursor to the left-hand corner and click the play button. Why don't you try jumping off this tour right now and explore on your own a bit and then come back to the tour. You can do this at any time during the tour. When you first open WorldWide Telescope, it gives you a view out into space from Earth. You can look in any direction in space and zoom in any amount you want. I started my WorldWide Telescope sessions by asking my students to write on an index card the name of objects they would like to visit or see. The first thing you and your students may want to do is to simply drive the telescope around and take a look. You might want to start with a view of the sky that contains something familiar to your students, like the Big Dipper or Orion's Belt. To get started driving the telescope around, you can put your cursor in the center part of the screen and click on it. Now you can click and drag the sky in any direction you want. You can zoom in or out using the scroll wheel on your mouse, or using the plus and minus keys on your keyboard. If you'd like, you could jump off this tour and experiment with exploring the area around Orion's Belt and zooming in and out. If you stop for a moment on any particular view of the sky, you'll see the context menu appear on the bottom of the screen. You may have to move your cursor to the bottom part of the screen in order to see it. The context menu includes a series of thumbnail images of objects that are in your field of view at this particular time. As you move the sky, or zoom in or zoom out, you will see the contextual thumbnails on the bottom of the screen change to adjust to what is currently visible in your field of view. Sometimes there are too many objects in the field of view to fit thumbnails across the bottom of the screen. In this case, you will see an arrow on the right-hand side of the thumbnail images, which you can click on to get additional objects that are in your field of view right now. You can also use the up arrow to expand the listing of contextual thumbnails. Some of the thumbnails across the bottom of the screen have T's in the corner of them. These are not objects, but rather tours. If you would like to jump to that tour, just click on it, and you will be entering into a different tour that is about that object. The sky ball in the lower right-hand corner of the screen shows which direction you're looking in right now. The rectangle shows how much of the sky your field of view includes. You can click and drag the sky ball to move the sky around. Next to the sky ball, you will see the constellation indicator. It will show you the constellation that is in the center of the sky right now. The odd shape is the official outline of the constellation, and the rectangle shows where your field of view is right now. After you drive the telescope around the sky for a while, your students may want to visit a particular object that they know the name of. Let's say your students would like to go visit Saturn. You can do this by going to the top of the screen and clicking on the menu tab that says Search. A box will appear where you can type in keywords. At the top of the screen, thumbnails will start appearing that are associated with the words that you typed in. Click on any of those thumbnails to go to that object. I've heard of this really cool object called the Dumbbell Nebula. I'd like to go see it now. Watch how I do it. This would be a good time to jump off this tour and try the search box. Remember, to get back on the tour, you have to click the name of the tour in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, and then click the play button. Let's say there's a fascinating object in your field of view that you'd like to learn more about. For example, if I'd like to find out more about this nebula, I can get the finder scope up by centering the cursor over the object and right-clicking. The finder scope will come up. One of the most interesting things you can do with the finder scope is to do research on the object you're pointing at right now. You can do this by clicking on the Research button. When you click the Research button, a menu will pop up underneath it. If you go to Information, you can look up the object in Wikipedia and in other sources. To get rid of the finder scope, just click the X in the upper right-hand corner of the finder scope box, or click the Close button. Now let's go and explore the full globe view of other planets, the Moon, and the Earth. To visit a planet in its full globe view, go to the lower left-hand corner of the screen where it says Look At. Click the arrow and select Planet. Or, if you'd like to visit Earth, select Earth. Once you've selected what you want to look at, you can select the imagery that you want to see. Click the arrow under Imagery and select the planet or moon that you'd like to visit, or the view of Earth that you'd like to see. I'd like to go to Mars. The full globe view of the planet or moon that you have selected will show up in the middle of the screen. You can click and drag to move it around and zoom in as much as you want. You may also want to challenge your students to find some special feature that they've heard of before, like the Great Red Spot on Jupiter or Valles Marineris, the Grand Canyon of Mars. If you hold down the Option key while you click and drag, you can tilt the view and see the three-dimensional topography of the planet or moon. My students really love tilting the view and flying along some of the amazing features on planets like Mars. If you'd like, you could jump off this tour right now and try exploring some of the planets or the Earth. While my students loved exploring the topography of distant planets most of all, you can also use WorldWide Telescope to visit the topography of Earth. This is an excellent opportunity to make comparisons between planets. I loved using WorldWide Telescope to fly along my favorite mountain range. I hope you enjoy exploring WorldWide Telescope with your students as much as I did. Now, it's your turn to play.